Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the distance learning program. It's great to be with you, and I hope you're doing well. All right, today's lesson is going to focus on what's on the board here. We're going to learn to read and write an email about an event, and we're going to use informal writing style. And today's lesson will begin on page 66. Page 66 of the Ventures3 book. So please turn to page 66. Now, first, I'd like to begin by talking about computers. Many times, people use computers to go online to search the internet, or sometimes they use them to write emails, or sometimes they use them to go and buy things at websites where you can purchase all different kinds of items and have them mailed to you. But today we're going to focus on writing emails. So if you look at page 66, right here where it says Part 1, do you use email? How often? Some people write emails every day, but some people don't write emails at all. How often means how many times a week do you send an email? Or how many times a month? Then it says, what do you use it for? What do you use email for? Is it for corresponding with friends or family members? Or do you use it to send emails to fellow employees at your job? Some people use it for work, and some people use it for pleasure. So when it says, what do you use it for? They want to know, how do you use email? Next, I'd like to read the email in Part B. So if you'll follow along with me, I'll read the email. It says, from Renee@yourmail.com. So this is the person who's writing the email. Then it says to balvarez@bbdc.com. And then the subject is Salsa Stars Concert. So many times people put the subject of the email on the subject line so that the person who receives the email knows what the email is about. Also, it shows up when you do searches in your email on your computer, and you can see the subject of the email that was written to you, and you can find it more quickly if you're doing a search. Now I'm going to read the email. Hi, Benito. Thanks a million for telling me about the Salsa Star Show. It was fabulous, and fabulous is in all capital letters. Ernesto Sanchez was incredible, and the music was awesome. Now notice, this type of style is pretty informal. Normally, you don't use the words like awesome or fabulous in emails that you send to fellow employees. But we'll see more examples of this informal style as we read. Their energy was amazing. We danced for 3 hours. Small problem. We got there late, so we had to stand in the back. It was hard to see. Big problem. The weather. Early in the evening, it was cold. Then around 10 o'clock, it started to rain. And it was cold, cold. Now, notice, Renee capitalizes cold and she puts hyphens between all the letters, so she's trying to emphasize how cold it was. And that's another type of informal style. And the frowny face that follows the word cold is another example. Normally, you don't put frowny faces in emails that you send to people in the company you work for. Next time, I plan to take a sweater and an umbrella. And next time, I hope you can come too. Miss you, Renee. So, this is an example of an email that Renee is sending to her friend or relative Benito, and it's all about this concert Salsa Stars, the Salsa Stars show, and she's recommending that B. Alvarez attend the next show. All right, now that we've read the email, I'd like to move to the next section that talks about the positive and negative information in the email. It says, work with a partner, complete the diagram with positive and negative information about the concert. And the first piece of positive information is that it was fabulous. The book puts that on the first line. Then if you look in the email, you can see that the next piece of information was Ernesto Sanchez was incredible. That's positive. So you could put that on the second line. The music was awesome. That's positive too. Then finally, for the last piece of positive information, you could say, the energy was amazing. The energy was amazing. Now let's take a look at the negative information. The book says, number 1, got there late. Number 2 could be, we had to stand in the back, and it was hard to see. Number 3, we could say, the weather was a big problem. Number 4, it started to rain. And number 5, it was cold. So apparently the weather was a big problem. It started to rain and it was cold. So that completes the negative information that we can find in the email. The next part of the lesson will begin on page 68. It says, Lesson F, Another View. So please turn to page 68 in the Ventures3 book. We're going to read the life skills reading. Announcements. Travel movies. Join us at 7 o'clock p.m. on Saturday and Sunday to see movies on India, Japan, and Brazil. Kids welcome. Downtown Public Library. Come early. Seating is limited. Concerts on the Green. Hear the Riverside Brass Band every Friday this month at noon. North end of City Park near the courthouse. Crafts Fair. Find gifts for your family and friends. Jewelry, pottery, paintings, and food from around the world. Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Broadway and 5th Street. Fix a Flat. Bike Master Shop offers basic bicycle maintenance clinics this Saturday at 4:30 p.m. and Sunday at 9 a.m. in front of the Bike Master shop. Now we'd like to read the questions in Part A, and we need to look at the announcements and fill in the correct answer. Number 1, which event does not happen during the day? Well, if you look at travel movies, that begins at 7 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday. Crafts Fair happens at 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 p.m. So that's during the day. Concerts on the Green, it says that happens every Friday this month at noon. That's during the day. Noon is 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And Fix-A-Flat is at 4:30 p.m. on Saturday and at 9 a.m. on Sunday. So that's during the day. So the one that happens at night or in the evening would be travel movies. So the answer to number 1 is travel movies, because that happens in the evening, not during the day. Number 2, it says which statement is true? A says Bike Master shop has clinics on Saturday and Sunday afternoon. If you look at Fix-A-Flat, it says Bike Master has clinics on Saturday at 4:30 in the afternoon, but on Sunday in the morning. So that is not correct. B says the crafts fair is near the courthouse. If you look at the crafts fair, it says it happens at Broadway and 5th Street. It doesn't say anything about the courthouse. So I would say that's probably not true. Next, it says concerts on the Green provide music at 12 o'clock. If we look at concerts on the Green, it says that concerts occur on Friday at noon. And noon is 12 o'clock. So I would check that box because it does happen at 12 o'clock. So concerts are provided at 12 o'clock near the courthouse. Let's look at number 3. Which event would be good for bike riders? Well, I would say that bike riders would probably benefit from a maintenance class on fixing flat tires, because many times when you're riding bikes, you might get a flat. And it would be excellent to know how to fix those. So I would choose B, Fix-A-Flat. Then number 4, which event is at noon on Saturday? A says concerts on the Green, and that happens at noon, but it's on Friday, every Friday. So it's not concerts on the Green. Fix-A-Flat is 4:30 on Saturday or 9 o'clock on Sunday, so that's not at noon on Saturday. Travel movies is at 7 p.m. on Saturday, so that's not the right answer. So the answer is D, none of the above. All right, now that we've finished reading the email and answering the questions about it, I'd like to move to the final part of today's lesson, which is the grammar connection on page 69. But before I do that, I just want to quickly review about sentences that use infinitives. And remember, when we talk about our plans for the future, many of the verbs that we use need to be followed by an infinitive. Remember, infinitives are to plus the base form of the verb. So here's an example. What do you hope or intend to do over the coming weekend? What do you hope to do over the coming weekend? So the verb intend is the main verb in the sentence, and we follow that with an infinitive, to do. We're talking about our plans for the future, what we hope to do. Now, if you'll turn to page 69, I'm going to do a quick review about using infinitives and gerunds. It says verbs plus infinitives and verbs plus gerunds. Remember, a gerund is a verb that you make into a noun by adding ing to the base form of the verb. It says an infinitive, that's a typo, which means a typographical error because it should say infinitive, T-I-V-E. An infinitive is to plus the base form of a verb. Infinitives often follow verbs that talk about future plans. A gerund is the base form of the verb plus ing. Gerunds often follow verbs that talk about preferences. Preferences are likes or dislikes. Both infinitives and gerunds can follow some verbs. Now, if you'll take a look at the box on the left where it says verbs plus infinitives, it lists several verbs that usually take infinitives. These verbs are decide, intend, need, plan, refuse, and want. Then the verbs that are usually followed by gerunds or nouns are avoid, dislike, enjoy, finish, miss, and suggest. And verbs that take both infinitives or gerunds are continue, hate, like, prefer, and start. So those verbs can be followed by both infinitives and gerunds. Now here are some examples of using a verb with an infinitive. It says, we intend to study tonight. It's talking about what we're going to do tonight. So it's our plans for later. And we use verbs that are usually followed by infinitives when we're talking about plans for the future. The other example is we need to go home. So the main verb in the first sentence was intend. The infinitive is to study. In the second sentence, the main verb is need, and the infinitive is to go. The next set of examples are verbs with gerunds following them. So the first one says, Thomas dislikes exercising. When you dislike something, then the thing that you dislike needs to be in gerund form. Exercising, that's a gerund. So the next example, they enjoy something. What do they enjoy? They enjoy swimming. So swimming is a gerund. So the main verb in the first example was dislikes, and the gerund is exercising. And in the second sentence, the main verb is enjoy, and the gerund is swimming. Now, look at the final box on the right where it says verbs plus infinitives or gerunds. You can use either one with these verbs, okay? So it says, I like to cook. Like can use a gerund or an infinitive. You could say, I like cooking, or I like to cook. The second example is the one using the gerund. I like cooking. Now move to part A. It says work in a small group. Ask the questions with to do or doing. What do you enjoy doing on the weekend, Victor? I enjoy walking in the park. What do you intend to do after class? I intend to study at the library. Now, for the remainder of the exercise, you can just fill in the blanks about what you like to do. And you can answer these using your own personal answers. So you can do that individually. That concludes this part of the lesson. And thank you very much for tuning in today. And I hope to see you soon. Come back for the next video, please. Have a great day.